Welcome back to our class. Again, this is Teacher Kina, and today we'll continue our topic fractions. So in this lesson, we're going to add and subtract unlike fractions. Okay, the last lesson we discussed about adding and subtracting like fractions, right? Now in here, we're going to add and subtract unlike fractions or the dissimilar fractions. Okay, what are similar fractions again? They are the fractions whose whose denominators are all the same. This is what we did last lesson, okay, in our previous lesson. Now, to today's lesson, we'll learn more about adding and subtracting dissimilar or unlike fractions. Okay, what are dissimilar or unlike fractions? They are fractions whose denominators are not the same. Okay, like 1/5, 3/7, 2/3, and 5/9. You see their denominators are different. They are not the same. So they are called unlike fractions. Okay, the keywords that we're going to use, we've got the same keywords as we have last time since we have the same topic, almost the same topic, yeah. Numerator, the number above the line of a fraction. Denominator is the number below the line. And like fractions, at what I've said a while ago, they are fractions whose denominators are the same. And unlike fractions are fractions whose denominators are not the same. Okay, to add means to put together. Like we use the symbol here, plus, to add. And their answer is called sum. So in here, 9, 5 plus 4 equals 9. 9 is the sum. So when we say find the sum, then that means you have to add. Okay, now subtract, that means to take away from another to calculate the difference. Okay, in here, 5 minus 4, we use the symbol minus for subtraction, and the answer is called the difference. So in here, 5 minus 4 equals 1. 1 is called the difference. Okay, 9, the ninth keyword is lowest term. Okay, what is lowest term again? It's the simplest form of fraction. When a fraction cannot be divided any further, then that's the lowest term. All right. Now we discussed also this one last time, but I want to review this one to you before proceeding with our lesson. We have rules in finding your answer. If you got your answer, you have to check if it's an improper fraction or not. If it's an improper fraction, then that should not be your final answer because your answer cannot be an improper fraction. What is improper fraction again? The numerator is bigger than the denominator. Then that is improper fraction. That could not be. If your answer is improper, you have to convert it into a mixed number. Okay, because improper fraction can only be converted to mixed number. Okay, improper fraction cannot be converted to proper fraction. So the only way is to convert it into a mixed number. So in this case, 26 over 5, how are you gonna convert that? Okay, let's find how many 5s are there in 26. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 6 5s is already 30, so 6 cannot be. So let's just have, it's just 5 5s. Okay, 5 5s is 25, right? Now we have here 26, so we need one more to get the numerator 26 because 5 5s is only 25. So we'll have that 1 as the numerator and then copy the denominator 5 over here. So the improper fraction 26 over 5 is equal to 5 and 1/5 as the mixed numbers. So if your answer is already this, then that could be your answer. That could be fine because it's already a mixed number. All right. Now the second rule is your answer could either be a proper fraction or a mixed number. So as I've said, if your answer is a proper fraction, then that's correct. But if it's improper, you need to convert it to mixed number, okay? Because your answer could only be proper fraction or a mixed number. Okay, what is proper fraction? The numerator is smaller than the denominator. Then that's the proper. Then if your answer is proper, then that's correct. What is a mixed number? You have the whole number and the fraction together. Okay, that's why it's called mixed. Now the third rule is it should always be in lowest term. Your answer should always be in lowest term. How will you know if your answer is in lowest term? When the numerator is already 1, then your answer is already in lowest term, like 1/2, 1/5, 1/3, 1/10, 1/8. Then that is already in lowest term. Okay, you see their numerators are all 1 here. Next, when you cannot divide any further, even if the numerator is not 1, but you cannot divide any further, there's no more factor you can divide to the numerator and the denominator, and then that is already in lowest term. Okay, remember when dividing, there's no remainder allowed. Okay, that means you should have your correct factor when dividing, because if you divide it with a remainder, then that is not you use not correct factor in dividing. Okay, so let's review a little bit on adding and adding like fractions. Okay, like fractions, their denominators are the same, right? So in here, since these are like fractions, you just copy the 10, the denominator. So you got there 10, and then the numerator, you add them all. 5 plus 4 equals 9. So the answer is 9 tenths. Now let's see if our answer is acceptable. It's not an improper fraction, and it's already in lowest term. So that is our final answer. Now let's try finding the sum of the following fractions. Okay, here the fractions, as you can see, their denominators are not the same. So that means they are unlike fractions already. Okay, so since they are unlike fractions, we cannot copy the denominator here because they are different. So if you got unlike fractions, our main goal, our target is to make them into uh, like fractions, to make new fractions, okay, out of these given fractions, like 1/3 and 3/4 here. We have to make new fractions out of these given fractions, which will be to make them like fractions. But how are you going to do that? That's our target, to make like fractions. But how are we going to do that? Actually, there are a lot of ways to do that, but I'm going to teach you one by one, okay? So you will not be confused. Okay, again, remember our target is to change it to like fractions, because we cannot add unlike fractions right away. We need to make them into like fractions first. But how we're going to do that? Let's find the LCD. That's the first method. Find the LCD. What is LCD? Lowest common denominator. Okay, what is lowest common denominator? How are you going to find the LCD? Okay, to find the LCD, let's try that one here. Okay, so that's 1/3 and 3/4. I make space in here so we can, in this space, we can make our new fractions. Okay, to make our new fractions, the first thing to do is to find the LCD. Why? Because the LCD will be the new denominator. I mean, that will be the denominator of our new fractions, to make them like fractions. Okay, so let's find the LCD by looking at their multiples. What is multiple? How are you going to find the multiple? Multiple of 3 and 4, since they are the denominators. Okay, so here multiples of 3 and multiples of 4. You just do skip counting. Okay, when finding the multiples, let's start with the bigger denominator. So in this case, it's 4, right? So let's start with 4. Let's do skip counting. Start with 4. So 4, next 8. Skip counting 12, 16, 20. Let's try 5 first. Okay, then let's try the other denominator. Let's go proceed with 3. Let's start with 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, did you notice we already have two common multiples in here? But in case you cannot still, there's still no common multiples, then you proceed more, okay, until you find one. Okay, but in this case, for 3 and 4, we already got 12 as their common multiple. Then that will be the LCD. Okay, that is the LCD, least common. For if it's not a fraction, it's least common multiple. But since we are dealing with fractions, then instead of multiple, we use denominator. So lowest common denominator. So that's the LCD. Their lowest common denominator, lowest common multiple. All right, so this 12 will be the denominator of our new fractions. Okay, so let's write down here our new denominators. Okay, as I've said, we will make new fractions, right? To make this like fractions. Because if you find two like fractions, then that will be easier for us to add, right? So let's see, how are you going, now that we got the denominator, how are you going to find the numerator? Okay, what are we going to multiply? Whatever we multiply to 3 to get the answer 12, we will do the same above to get the numerator. So what did you what factor are we going to multiply to 3 to get 12? It's 4, right? So 3 times 4 equals 12. 3 times 3 is 9. So that we cannot use 3, but 4, only 4, because 3 times 4 is 12. Since we use 4 here, we will use 4 above also. So 1 times 4 equals 4. Now we get the numerator 4. Okay, let's try with the other one here. Whatever factor we use with the denominator, we do the same with the numerator. Okay, let's try 4 times 4 is 16. So cannot use 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So we use here 3 as a factor. So since we use 3 below, we use 3 above. Okay, so 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. All right, now we have new fractions. 4 12 in here and 9 12. Now we got the same denominators there. Now all we have to do is copy the denominator and then add the numerators. 4 plus 9 equals 13. Now that we got 13 over 12, that is the answer for 1/3 plus 3/4. Now, is this our final answer? Again, the rules could not be improper fraction. Is this an improper fraction? Yes, it's an improper fraction. So what are we going to do if your answer is an improper fraction? We need to convert it to a mixed number. Okay, how many 12s are there in 13? Obviously, there's only one 12 in 13. But 1 12 is just 12, so we will need one more to get 13. So that will be the numerator, and then the denominator is 12. Just copy 12 here. Okay, when you divide that, if you want to divide it like this, 12 divided by 13 equals, there's only 1. 1 times 12 equals 12. 13 minus 12 is 1. So 1, remainder 1. Okay, again, 1. The quotient 1 is our whole number. and then the remainder one here will be the numerator. Okay, so that's how to convert. So our answer is 1 and 1/12. Okay, so let's see. 1 and 1/12. Now is that our final answer? Could not be an improper fraction. Yes, it's not an improper fraction, and it's in lowest term. Of course, the numerator is already 1, so that's pretty obvious that it's already in lowest term. All right, so let's try another one. 5/8 plus 1/4. 5/8 plus 1/4. You see their denominators are not the same, so our target is to make them into like fractions. You have to make new fractions out of this. Okay, so the denominators is 8 and 4. So we're going to make new fractions, find the LCD. So let's get the multiples of 8. 4 and 8. Okay, let's try with the bigger denominator. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Now let's proceed with the smaller denominator. 4, 8. Oops. You see they got common denominators already. I mean common multiples. So 8 will be the new denominator because the LCD is 8. So this will be the new denominator. But here, as you can see, one of our fraction here got already 8 as denominator 8. So that means we don't have to change this already because it's already 8. Now we will only change this 1/4 over here. So let's make 8 here as the new denominator since our LCD is 8. So that's where we get 8. And then what factor are we going to multiply to 4 to get 8? 4 times 2, right? 4 times 2 is 8. So since we multiplied 2 here, then we also multiply 2 above. Then 1 times 2 equals 2. Okay, so now that we got like fractions, okay, we converted already 1/4 to 8 since we get 8 as the common denominators here. So we just copy 8 and then the numerator 5 and 2. 5 plus 2 equals 7. Okay, we're not going to use this fraction anymore because we got the new fraction here. So we'll add 5 plus 2 equals 7. Oops, why is it 28? Okay, that's 7. All right, 5 plus 2 equals 7. So our answer is 7. Oops, I'm sorry with this one. That's 7. 7, 8. All right. Now, is our answer correct? Is it final? Yes, it's an improper fraction and it's in lowest term. So that's our final answer, 7/8. Okay, so that's the first method in finding in making like fractions. Now, the first one is finding the LCD, right? The second one, actually, this is not applicable to all fractions, but we can use this if you encountered fractions like this. If you notice their denominators, 4 is a factor of 8, right? So that means you don't need to find the LCD here. You can just use right away the 8 as the new denominator. So we don't need to go to finding the LCD anymore. We can just proceed to the new denominator 8 here right away. It's not the answer. It's not yet the answer, but to find the new fraction, you don't need to go to finding the LCD. You can proceed to the denominator 8. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 times 2 is 2. Now let's add 5 plus 2 is 7, and then the denominators here is 8. So just copy 8. So see, we got the same answer. So any methods you use the finding the LCD first, or you can use this method where you see 4 is a fraction, is a factor of 8, so you don't need to go to the first one. Whatever method you use, as long as you get the same answer, then that is fine. All right. Okay, let's try another one here. 1/2 and 2/3. They are unlike fractions again. The denominators are not the same, so we have to make them into like fractions. Okay, we need to find their LCD to get the new denominator. Okay, so to find the least common denominator, lowest common denominator, we need to find the multiples of 3 and 2. So 3 is the greatest denominator, greater, so we'll start with 3, 3, oops. Okay, we can start any. 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, there's already common multiple in here, and it's 6. So 6 will be the LCD. Right. Now that we got the LCD, that will be our new denominators. Okay. Now, what factor to get 6? We have the factor 3. So 2 times 3 equals 6, right? So whatever we use below here, we use above. So 1 times 3 equals 3. Okay, now here 3 times what factor to get 6? 3 times 2 equals 6, right? So 2 times 3, 2 times 2 equals 4. Now you see we have our new like fractions already. Now we just copy that here, 6. And then 3 plus 4 for our numerator, that is 7. So we got 7, 6 as our answer. Now since we got here 7, 6, let's see if our answer is correct. Okay, but before that, before checking our answer, I'm going to teach you the third method. Okay, the first method to make to find the answer is finding the LCD, right? The second one is if the second one is not applicable to all, but you can use this if the smaller denominator is a factor of a greater denominator, then you can use this right away. You don't have to go back to the first method in finding the LCD. The third method is this one. This is called the the easiest method, cross multiplication method. This is very easy. We can use this if the given fractions are smaller numbers or one-digit numbers will be fine. Okay. So in here, since we got 2 and 3 as the denominators, then they are small numbers, then that would be very easy to use this method. What you're going to do is you multiply their denominators. 2 times 3 equals 6, right? So that's the denominator. And now to get the numerator, you have to cross multiply it. You start with 1, the numerator on the left, the first fraction. So 1 times, not plus, times. 1 times 3 equals 3. And then plus, proceed to the second fraction. The numerator is 2. 2 times 2 equals 4. Now let's see. 3 plus 4 is 7. Denominator is 6. You see we get the same answer. Easy, right? This one is the easiest method, but we cannot use this when the given fractions are large numbers. So that is the third method, the easiest method. We call it the cross multiplication method. Okay. So in these three methods that I told you, the easiest one is the third one, but we cannot use this in all fractions. We can use this only for smaller given fractions. Okay, but anyway, if you can multiply and um, you can multiply bigger numbers, then that would not be a problem. The second one is only applicable if the fraction, I mean the denominator is a factor of the other denominator. And the LCD one, it's applicable to all, but it's quite long and it takes more time. So in dealing with unlike fractions, you just choose which of these three methods that I told you you use. Okay. So now that we got the answer 7, 6, let's check if our answer will be the final answer. It could not be an improper fraction. Is this an improper fraction? Yes, 7 6 is an improper fraction since 7 is greater than 6. So we need to convert it into a mixed number. Now here, let's see how many 6 are there in 7. Obviously, there is only one 6 in 7. But 1 6 is only 6. And we have here 7, so we need one more. So that will be our numerator. So 6 plus 1 is 7, right? Now copy the denominator 6. So 1 and 1, 6. That is our final answer. Let's see if we got the same answer when we divide, of course. We got the same answer. 7 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times 6 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. So 1, remainder 1. That is our answer here. 1 and remainder 1. Okay, equals 1 and 1, 6. Okay, that's 1, not 7. Alright, it's not an improper fraction, correct? And it's in lowest term. Okay, so let's try to use to answer this. Find the sum using the easy method. The third method. Okay, let's try. Since when we're dealing with just one-digit fractions, then we can use this method, the third method. So since these are all single-digit fractions, then let's use the easy method, the cross multiplication method. We don't need to find the LCD. We can proceed with cross multiplication. To get the denominator, we multiply the denominator 6 and 3. So 6 times 3 equals 18, right? Now we got the denominator 18. Now let's proceed with the numerator. Let's always start with the numerator with the first fraction. 3 plus 3 equals 6. And then plus 2. Oh, no. Not plus, times. Sorry. Should be times. Pardon with this one. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9. That should be times. And then 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, so now that we got the numerator there, let's find 9 plus 12 equals 11. Denominator is 18. So that's it. Easy, right? Okay, now let's see. Is it in an improper fraction? No, it's not an improper fraction. It's a proper fraction. Then that's correct. Is it in lowest term? Okay, let's see. Can we find any factors to divide 11 that is also divisible to 8? There's no more factors to divide them. Then that means that is in lowest term already. Now let's try another one using the easy method, the cross multiplication. Okay, 7 times 5 is 35. Now let's cross multiply 4 times, we change this to times, not plus anymore. 4 times 5 is 20. plus 7 times 2 is 14. So 20 plus 14 equals 34, and the denominator is 35. Easy, right? Okay, so that's how you use the easy method in um, adding unlike fractions. Okay, that's the cross multiplication method. All right, since it's an improper fraction and it's in lowest term, then that's our final answer. 3/4 over 34 over 35. Okay, let's try this one last time. 4 times 6 equals 24. That's our denominator. And then cross multiply. 1 times 6 equals 6 plus 3 times 4 equals 12. So the answer is 18 over 24. Now, is it an improper fraction? Yes, it's an improper fraction. Is it in lowest term? Oops, not yet in lowest term because they are both even numbers. So that means we can still divide them into 2. We can also divide them to 6. There are a lot of factors, but let's see. Okay, let's try 6. Okay, anyway, either way you use, we can still get the same answer. Either you use here as factor 2, factor 3, factor 6, you'll get the same answer. Okay, so let's try 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3. And for the denominator, 24 divided by 6 is 4. Okay. So the final answer is 3/4. Okay. All right, let's try with finding the difference. Okay. With the following fractions. You see, when we say difference, that means we will minus, okay? When we say sum, when we look for sum, then that is plus. But in here, we're looking for the difference, so we will use minus. That's why we have here minus. Now, the given fractions are like fractions. So since this is 10 and the other one is 10, we'll just copy 10. Now 5 minus 4 is 1. Okay, so that's the answer. It's not an improper fraction and it's in lowest term. So that's it. But what if they are unlike fractions? Just like what we did with our addition, we do the same in finding the difference with unlike fractions. Okay, 5 and 7 are not the same, so we need to make like fractions. Find the LCD, and it's the lowest common denominator. Okay, let's try the first method, finding the LCD. Okay, let's find the LCD of 5 and 7. So what are the multiples of 7 and 5? Let's start with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Why do we have here 35? Okay, how about 7? 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. There's no more, there's not yet, so let's proceed more. 42, oops, you got there to 35. Anyway, 35. There's 30 here, 30, 35. Okay, now that we got the common multiple, then that is the new that is the LCD, and that LCD will be our new denominator. Okay, so what factor are we going to multiply to 5 to get 35? 5 times 7, right? 5 times 7 equals 35. So we do the same with the numerator. 4 times 7 equals 28. Okay. Now with the other fraction, 7 times 5 equals 35. Now we do the same with the numerator. 5 times 5 equals 25. Okay, now that we got the same denominator now with our new fractions, okay, we cannot use this old fractions. We will not use this anymore. So 35 as our new denominator and 28 minus 25 equals 3. All right. So that's our answer, 3 over 35. Okay. Now let's try that with the third method. We cannot use the second method because 5 is not a factor of 7. So we cannot use the second method. Let's try the third method that I told you, the cross multiplication, the easiest method. Let's see, 5 times 7 equals 35. Now let's cross multiply. 4 times 7 is 28. Always start with the numerator on the first fraction. Okay, you cannot start with 5. Start with 4 first. Then 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, so the answer is 20. Oh, it's 3 over 35. Okay, because 28 minus 25 equals 3. So that's the answer. It's an improper fraction. Is it an improper fraction? No. So that's already in lowest term, and that's our final answer. Now let's try this one. Okay, let's which one do you want to use? Let's try the easy, finding the LCD, or the easy one. Okay, let's try the easy one. Okay, 10 times 5 is 50. Now, always start with the one on the first fraction. Okay, do not start with the second fraction. Always start with the first fraction. So 7 times 5 is 35. Minus 10 times 2, or 2 times 3 is 20. So the answer is 35 minus 20, 15 over 50. Okay. Now, is it an improper fraction? No, it's not an improper. It's already a proper fraction, but it's not yet in the lowest term. You see, we can still divide 15 and 50 with 5, right? So let's try it here. 15 over 50. Let's divide this with 5. Okay. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 50 divided by 5 is 10. So our final answer is 3/10. Alright. Okay, let's try this one. Let's use the cross multiplication method, the easiest method. Okay, 11 times 9 equals 99. Now let's cross multiply. Start with 4 times 9 equals 36. Minus, okay, we use minus here. 11 times 2 is 22. Now 36 minus 22 equals 14. Denominator 99. Okay, so is it an improper fraction? Yes, it's an improper fraction. And is it in the lowest term? Yes, it's already in lowest term because there's no more factor we can use to divide 14 that is also divisible to 99. So that's our final answer, 14 over 99. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope that you remembered everything that we've discussed from the previous lesson up to now. Okay, so this will be very useful until you reach higher grades. Okay, so don't forget.